Have you ever noticed that lately, you just don't feel quite like yourself? Maybe your energy runs out faster than it used to. Maybe just walking to the mailbox leaves you needing to sit down for a while. Or perhaps your sleep feels restless, your mood more fragile, and your breath just a little shorter than before. If you've had moments like that, where something just feels off, believe me, you're not alone. And more importantly, it might be your heart trying to speak to you, quietly. Now, I know it's easy to chalk these things up to just getting older. That's what many of us do. But here's the truth, while aging does bring changes, it doesn't mean we have to silently accept every ache, every tired sigh, or every flutter of worry. Especially when it comes to the heart. The heart isn't just a muscle. It's the quiet engine behind every moment we cherish. And sometimes, when it starts to struggle, it whispers before it ever screams. That's why this conversation today is so important. Because there are signs, subtle, easily overlooked signs, that your heart might not be working as smoothly as it once did. They're not always dramatic. There's no pounding chest pain or flashing red light. Sometimes, it's something as ordinary as swollen ankles or feeling unusually tired. But these little clues, if we pay attention to them, can help us take action early, and protect not just our health, but our independence, our comfort, and our peace of mind. So in today's video, we're going to gently walk through 5 of these silent signs that your heart might be struggling, especially after 60. And don't worry, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to walk beside you, to help you tune into your body a little more kindly, and to remind you that even small changes can lead to big improvements in how you feel, day by day. And if you love topics like this, about health, emotional well-being, and how to live a life filled with meaning and calm, please give this video a like, share it with someone who might need it, and hit that subscribe button. I'm on a journey to reach 1,000 subscribers so we can keep growing this gentle community, where everyone matters and every story counts. Now, let's begin with one of the most overlooked signs, something many people think is just part of aging. But it could be your heart asking for help. Fatigue that lingers. Not just the kind that comes after a long day, but the kind that makes simple tasks feel like climbing a hill. Have you felt like your energy has drained even before the day really begins? Maybe brushing your hair, tidying up the living room, or making a cup of tea feels like it takes more effort than it used to. It's tempting to brush this off. Maybe you didn't sleep well, maybe the weather is gloomy, maybe it's just one of those days. But if this feeling lingers day after day, it's worth listening to. Because when the heart isn't pumping efficiently, your body doesn't get the oxygen it needs. That tiredness? It's not in your head. It's in your cells, craving more support. I remember speaking to a lovely man in his early 70s, let's call him Jim. He was always active, used to enjoy gardening and playing with his grandkids. Then, over the span of a few months, he just started slowing down. He thought maybe he was just getting old. But one morning, after needing to sit down while brushing his teeth, his wife gently nudged him to go in for a checkup. Turns out, his heart was working overtime trying to keep up. But the beauty of Jim's story is this, he caught it early. With some medication adjustments, light movement, and a few lifestyle tweaks, he was back planting tomatoes within weeks. The body is resilient, but we have to listen when it whispers. Now let's talk about another sign that seems harmless, even annoying at times, but it can be far more telling than most people realize. Swelling in your feet or ankles. Have you ever looked down and noticed your socks leaving deep marks around your ankles? Or maybe your shoes feel tighter by the afternoon than they did in the morning. This puffiness, especially when it's not related to standing too long or salty foods, can be your heart sending out a quiet distress signal. When the heart isn't pumping blood efficiently, fluid starts to back up, often in the legs and feet, thanks to gravity. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't scream. But it speaks. And if we pause long enough to notice it, we can respond before it becomes a bigger issue. It's okay to feel concerned when these things happen. But what I want to encourage you to do is this, approach your body with curiosity, not fear. Ask yourself, is this new? Is this lingering? Has this changed from a few months ago? Our bodies are like old friends. They tell us what they need, but they whisper. They don't always shout. And especially after 60, it's not about chasing youth. It's about honoring today's body, today's heart, and asking what it needs from us now. A gentle way to monitor swelling is to press a finger gently into your lower shin. If a dent stays behind for a while, that could be fluid retention. That doesn't mean panic, it means observation. It means calling your doctor, mentioning what you've noticed, and starting a conversation. And remember, none of this means you're broken. Your body is simply adapting, shifting, and sometimes asking for a little help. Maybe that help is more walking, less sodium, or a little medication. Maybe it's just awareness. The kindest thing we can do for ourselves isn't to push harder, but to listen deeper. Before we move forward, take a breath with me. Just a nice, gentle breath in and out. You're doing great. You're showing up for yourself today. And that's more than enough. Now that we've talked about these two subtle but powerful signals, lingering fatigue and swelling in the lower legs, let's explore another gentle sign that often goes unnoticed, yet carries so much meaning. Changes in your breathing. I'm not talking about those moments when you walk up a steep hill or rush to catch the phone. Anyone would feel winded then. I mean something softer, something slower. A shortness of breath that comes even while you're resting, or doing something simple, like folding laundry or walking to the kitchen. Maybe you've started noticing that you can't finish a sentence without needing to catch your breath, or lying flat in bed suddenly feels uncomfortable, like you need to prop yourself up with pillows to feel okay. This kind of change doesn't always come with chest pain or palpitations. It's not dramatic. And that's exactly why it's so easy to ignore. But our lungs and our heart are partners, they work together, every moment of every day. And when one begins to struggle, the other tries to help. So when the heart starts having trouble keeping up, your lungs step in, and you begin to feel it in your breathing. It's gentle at first. A little sigh here, a little breathlessness there. And just like that, the body is speaking again, if only we're willing to listen. Let me tell you a small story. There was a woman I met once, her name was Rosa. She was 68, gentle-voiced, the kind of person who always had a warm smile even on tough days. One afternoon, she told me she'd been feeling a little winded lately. Just getting the mail was a task. But she blamed it on the weather, on the pollen, on being out of shape. Still, something didn't sit right. Her daughter convinced her to get it checked, and thank goodness she did, her heart wasn't pumping as effectively as it should. She was in the early stages of heart failure. But because they caught it early, she had choices. She made a few lifestyle changes, started a gentle walking routine, and with some support from her doctor, she felt better in a few weeks. Rosa told me something I'll never forget. She said, "I never knew how hard I was working just to breathe. I just thought that's what getting older meant." So let's take that lesson to heart. Literally. If your breathing feels different, more effortful, or like it just takes more out of you than before, pause. Don't push through. Don't minimize it. Your heart may be whispering through your lungs. And the sooner we notice, the better we can care for it. Now, I want to talk about something that touches not only your physical body, but your emotional well-being too. Something many people would never think to connect with their heart health: changes in your mood, especially if you're feeling more anxious, unsettled, or even down, without a clear reason. It might surprise you, but the heart and the mind are deeply connected. When the heart isn't getting enough oxygen-rich blood, it can affect everything, including your brain's chemistry and your overall emotional balance. That lingering feeling of sadness, restlessness, or unexplained irritability. Sometimes, it's not just in your head. Sometimes, it's in your chest, in your heart, trying to carry more than it can handle. And here's something else. When people feel more tired, less capable, or notice changes in their ability to do things they used to enjoy, it can quietly wear away at their confidence. They stop reaching out. They stop going for walks or calling friends. A kind of emotional fog can settle in. But behind that emotional shift, there may be something very physical happening, something that needs attention and support. I remember a kind gentleman named Harold. He used to laugh so easily. He was the life of every room he entered. Then, over the course of several months, he became quieter, more withdrawn. His wife said he just wasn't himself. He said he didn't feel depressed, exactly, but he couldn't find joy in the little things anymore. It turned out, his heart wasn't pumping well enough, and it was starting to affect his brain's oxygen levels. With the right care and some gentle lifestyle shifts, his energy began to return, and with it, so did his smile. So if you felt more irritable lately, or less excited about things you used to enjoy, please don't brush it off as just aging. You deserve to feel peace and lightness in your days. And sometimes, the path back to that begins with listening to the quieter messages your body sends. And now, let's talk about one more subtle sign, something that feels so small, it often goes completely unnoticed, even though it can tell us so much about what's happening in the heart. Poor appetite or nausea. Now, I know, it doesn't seem like these would have anything to do with your heart. But they can. When the heart isn't functioning properly, blood can start to back up into other parts of the body, including the liver and digestive system. That can lead to discomfort in the belly, bloating, and a feeling of fullness even when you haven't eaten much. You might start skipping meals, feeling nauseated for no clear reason, or simply losing interest in food. It's subtle, right? Especially if you already have a smaller appetite, or if your meals have become simpler over time. But the change matters. It's another way your body might be waving a tiny flag, saying, "Pay attention to me." And while it might not seem urgent, it's still important. Sometimes, these digestive symptoms are misdiagnosed as acid reflux, stomach trouble, or even anxiety. And while those things can happen too, it's always worth exploring whether the heart is involved. Especially when these symptoms come alongside fatigue, swelling, breathlessness, or mood changes. So, what can we do when we notice these quiet changes? First and foremost, don't panic. Awareness is powerful. Your body is not failing you. It's communicating. And when we meet that communication with compassion, not fear, we open the door to healing. Talk to your doctor, even if it feels like a small thing. You're never wasting their time. Your health is worth paying attention to, every part of it, even the quietest parts. And second, be kind to yourself. Truly. When you wake up tired, or notice a change in your breath, or your mood feels off, don't scold yourself. Don't say, "I should be stronger," or "I'm just getting old." Say instead, "I'm learning to listen. My body is speaking. And I'm here for it." These small signs, these quiet whispers, they're not weaknesses. They're wisdom. They're your body's way of protecting you before things become urgent. That's a gift. One we should treat with care. Let's take another gentle breath together. In, and out. You're doing so well. Truly. Just being here, learning, opening yourself to this conversation, shows so much courage and care. Next, we'll explore the final sign that your heart may be sending, and talk about simple, meaningful ways to support your heart every single day, without fear, without pressure, just with love. One more subtle but powerful sign, and this one often slips under the radar because it shows up in such an ordinary place, your legs and feet. But when your ankles begin to swell or your shoes start feeling tighter than usual, even when you haven't changed your routine or eaten anything especially salty, it could be your heart gently asking for your attention. Swelling in the lower legs, especially if it's happening by the end of the day, can be a signal that the heart is not pumping blood as efficiently as it should. When that happens, fluid starts to collect in the body's tissues, and gravity naturally pulls that extra fluid down to your feet and ankles. You might notice that your socks leave deeper marks than usual. Maybe your legs feel heavier, or it's harder to get your shoes on in the morning. Now, of course, there are many reasons legs might swell: standing too long, warm weather, certain medications, but when it becomes a consistent, unexplained pattern, it's time to look a little deeper. The heart and the circulatory system are intricate partners. And sometimes the body's first hint that something isn't quite right is through the slow, quiet change in how your legs look or feel. A dear friend of mine, Tom, told me once that he thought his swelling ankles were just a sign he needed to walk more. He said, "Maybe I've been sitting too much." But then he started feeling more tired, and his pants felt tighter around the calves. That's when his wife insisted they check in with their doctor. As it turned out, Tom's heart was working overtime, and struggling a bit more than it should. With care, gentle treatment, and a few adjustments to his lifestyle, things improved. He always said, "It wasn't the swelling that scared me, it was how long I ignored it." That really stayed with me. Because it reminds us how easy it is to overlook these signs, especially when they don't come with pain or big, dramatic changes. They arrive softly, almost politely. But they matter. So, if your body is showing you something new, an ache, a breath, a feeling, a shape, pause. Tune in. Place your hand gently on your chest and remind yourself, this heart has been beating every single second for you. Every single day. It deserves your attention. It deserves your care. And now that we've walked through these 5 gentle but important signals: unexplained fatigue, breathlessness during rest, mood changes, digestive discomfort, and swelling in the legs, what can we actually do about them? Here's the beautiful part: healing doesn't need to be harsh. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. You don't have to change everything at once. In fact, the most powerful healing often comes from the smallest, most loving choices. Let's start with awareness. Just becoming aware of these signs is already a huge step. When we know what to look for, we can catch things early, long before they turn into emergencies. That gives us choices. It gives us peace of mind. And it brings us back into partnership with our own bodies, instead of feeling like we're at war with aging. Next, let's talk about kindness. Not just kindness toward others, but toward yourself. Speak to your body as you would a beloved friend. If you're tired, rest. If you're worried, seek answers. If you feel off, trust yourself. You've lived long enough to know when something isn't quite right, even if you can't put your finger on it. That wisdom is priceless. Honor it. And, when you're ready, take gentle action. Book that doctor's appointment. Keep a little journal of how you feel each day. Drink more water. Move your body in ways that feel good. Laugh more. Stress less. Take those quiet walks, or sit by the window with a good book and just breathe. Nourish your heart with joy as much as with food. Because here's something I believe with all my heart: it's never too late to feel better. To feel lighter. To feel more you. Whether you're 60, 70, or beyond, your life is not behind you. It's right here. Right now. And you get to choose how to care for yourself in it. I know sometimes the world makes it easy to feel invisible as we get older. But I want to say this clearly to you now: you matter. Your health matters. Your comfort, your energy, your peace, they all matter. You are not a burden. You are not too late. You are not just getting old. You are alive. And that is enough reason to care, to ask questions, to keep growing and listening to your beautiful, faithful heart. So if you've heard something in this video that feels familiar, whether it's the tiredness, the breathlessness, the change in mood, the appetite shift, or the swelling, I want you to take that not as something scary, but as something empowering. It means your body is communicating. It means you have time to respond. It means you can take steps, big or small, that honor your well-being. And if you've been feeling great, with none of these signs, that's a blessing worth celebrating. But even then, staying informed helps you take even better care of yourself, and maybe even helps you notice something in a loved one, too. We're all in this together. And this little space we've shared today, right here, is a reminder that none of us are alone. There's always room to learn, to listen, and to love ourselves a little more. Before we close, I'd love to know, have you ever experienced one of these quiet signs before? Maybe you noticed something and didn't know it could be connected to your heart. Or maybe you've been through a health journey and want to share what helped you most. I truly believe we heal better when we share stories. So please, if you feel comfortable, leave a comment below. Let's start a gentle, supportive conversation. And if this video helped you feel more informed or a little more hopeful, I'd be so grateful if you gave it a like, shared it with someone who might need it, and hit that subscribe button. I'm on a mission to create a peaceful space for conversations about health, healing, and living meaningfully after 60, and your support makes all the difference. Your heart has carried you through every joy and every hardship. It's still beating for you now, asking only for your care and kindness in return. So here's to your heart. May it beat strong. May it beat free. And may you feel deeply, truly loved, starting with yourself. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. You're doing beautifully. Have you ever woken up in the morning, ready to start your day, only to feel a nagging stiffness in your knees or a dull ache in your hips? Maybe you shrug it off, thinking it's just part of getting older. I get it, those little twinges can feel like uninvited guests that show up more often after 65. But here's the thing, you don't have to let those aches settle in and take over your mornings. In fact, some of the habits you're doing first thing in the day might be making your joints feel worse without you even realizing it. If you've ever wished you could move a little more freely, maybe even dance around the kitchen like you used to, then you're in the right place. As we age, our joints go through natural changes. Cartilage wears down, muscles lose some of their strength, and inflammation can creep in. But that doesn't mean we're doomed to creaky knees or sore shoulders. The truth is, small choices we make every morning can either help our joints stay limber or add unnecessary strain. And the good news? You can take control with just a little awareness and a few tweaks to your routine. In today's video, we're diving into 4 morning habits that could be harming your joints after 65, and, more importantly, what you can do instead to stay pain-free and keep moving with ease. These are simple, practical changes that don't require fancy equipment or hours of effort. Just a willingness to try something new for the sake of feeling better. Before we get started, if you love learning about ways to stay healthy, active, and full of life as you age, I'd be so grateful if you'd give this video a like, share it with a friend, and hit that subscribe button. I'm on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers so I can keep bringing you content that makes your days brighter and your body stronger. Every little bit of support helps, so thank you for being here. Now, let's jump into the first habit that might be sneaking up on your joints every morning. It's something so common you might not even think twice about it, skipping a proper warm-up before you get moving. Picture this, you wake up, maybe you're feeling a bit stiff, and you head straight into your day. Maybe you're bending down to tie your shoes, carrying a laundry basket, or even heading out for a brisk walk to get your blood flowing. Sounds harmless, right? But here's the catch, after 65, your joints and muscles need a little extra love before they're ready for action. When you dive into activity without warming up, you're putting stress on cold, stiff joints that aren't fully prepared. It's like trying to bend a piece of clay that's been sitting in the fridge, it's more likely to crack than mold smoothly. I remember my friend Margaret, who's 68 and loves her morning gardening. She used to hop out of bed and head straight to her flower beds, bending and kneeling for an hour. But she started noticing her knees would ache for the rest of the day. One day, she mentioned it to her physical therapist, who asked, "Are you warming up before you garden?" Margaret laughed, she thought warm-ups were just for athletes. But when she started doing 5 minutes of gentle stretches before heading outside, it was like night and day. Her knees felt looser, and the aches didn't linger as much. That's the power of giving your joints a heads up that you're about to move. So, what can you do instead? Start your morning with a simple warm-up routine that takes just 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need to run a marathon or do anything intense. Try this: while you're still in bed or sitting in a chair, do some gentle ankle circles, 5 in each direction for each foot. Then, roll your shoulders forward and backward a few times to loosen up your upper body. If you're standing, march in place for a minute, lifting your knees just a little to get your hips moving. These small movements increase blood flow to your joints, making them more flexible and less prone to strain. If you're someone who likes a visual guide, you could even follow along with a short stretching video on YouTube. There are plenty designed specifically for seniors. The key is to ease your body into the day, like warming up a car engine on a chilly morning. Another way to think about it is like preparing a recipe. You wouldn't toss ingredients into a pan without preheating it, right? Your joints are the same, they need a little prep to perform their best. By making this small change, you're setting yourself up for a day with less pain and more freedom to do the things you love, whether that's playing with your grandkids or taking a leisurely stroll. Speaking of moving, let's talk about the second habit that could be doing more harm than good: overdoing it with high-impact exercise first thing in the morning. Now, don't get me wrong, staying active is one of the best things you can do for your joints. Exercise keeps your muscles strong and your joints lubricated. But the type and timing of your activity matter, especially after 65. Maybe you're someone who loves starting your day with a power walk or even a light jog. Or perhaps you follow a workout video that includes jumping jacks or other high-energy moves. While your enthusiasm is inspiring, doing high-impact exercises right after waking up can put too much stress on your joints, especially if you haven't warmed up properly. Take my neighbor Tom, for example. At 70, he's as energetic as ever and used to kick off his mornings with a 30-minute routine that included jumping exercises he found online. He thought it was keeping him young, but he started feeling sharp pains in his ankles and hips. When he talked to his doctor, she explained that high-impact moves, especially first thing in the morning when your joints are still waking up, can wear down cartilage over time. She suggested swapping those jumps for low-impact alternatives, and it made a huge difference for him. So, what's the fix? If you love morning exercise, focus on low-impact options that are gentle on your joints. Walking is a fantastic choice, just keep it at a comfortable pace, especially at the start. If you enjoy workout videos, look for ones labeled low-impact or senior-friendly, which often include moves like side steps or arm swings instead of jumps. Swimming or water aerobics, if you have access to a pool, are also amazing because the water supports your body, reducing stress on your joints. The goal is to get your heart pumping without jarring your knees, hips, or ankles. And if you're set on something more vigorous, save it for later in the day when your body's had time to loosen up. One tip that's worked for a lot of folks is to pair your morning movement with something you enjoy. Maybe you listen to your favorite music while walking or do gentle yoga stretches while your coffee brews. It's about finding what feels good and sustainable for you. By choosing joint-friendly exercises, you're not just protecting your body, you're giving yourself the energy to enjoy your day without those nagging aches holding you back. Now that we've covered the importance of warming up and choosing the right kind of morning exercise, let's move on to another habit that might be quietly stressing your joints, one that's so easy to overlook because it's part of so many people's daily routines. Let's talk about something that might surprise you. It's a habit so ingrained in your morning routine that you probably don't even think about it: sitting for too long right after you wake up. I know, it sounds strange to call sitting a habit that harms your joints, especially when it feels so comfortable to ease into the day with a cup of coffee, maybe reading the paper or scrolling through your phone. But here's the thing: staying seated for extended periods first thing in the morning can make your joints stiffer and more prone to pain as the day goes on. After 65, our bodies rely on movement to keep joints lubricated and muscles flexible. When we sit for too long, especially after a night of rest when our joints are already a bit tight, we're essentially letting them freeze up instead of encouraging them to stay supple. Think about my friend Clara, who's 67 and loves her morning ritual of sipping tea while catching up on emails. She'd spend an hour or more sitting at her kitchen table, and by the time she stood up, her hips felt like they'd locked into place. She'd shuffle around for a bit, trying to shake off the stiffness, but it often lingered. One day, she mentioned it to me, and I asked, "How long are you sitting before you move around?" When she realized it was over an hour, it was like a light bulb went off. She started making a small change that made a big difference, and I'll share that with you in just a moment. The science behind this is pretty straightforward. When you sit for long stretches, the synovial fluid that lubricates your joints doesn't circulate as well, and your muscles can tighten up. This is especially true in the morning when your body's still warming up from sleep. Over time, this lack of movement can contribute to joint stiffness and even increase inflammation, which is the last thing we want. But don't worry, you don't have to give up your morning coffee or your favorite crossword puzzle. It's about adding a little movement to break up those long sitting sessions. So, what can you do instead? Try the move every 20 rule. Every 20 minutes or so, stand up, stretch, or take a short walk around the room. It doesn't have to be a big production. For example, when Clara started setting a timer on her phone, she'd get up every 20 minutes to do a quick stretch or walk to the other side of her kitchen. Sometimes she'd just stand and sway gently, loosening her hips. She told me it felt silly at first, but after a week, she noticed her hips didn't feel as stiff, and she had more energy to tackle her day. Another idea is to pair your sitting activities to refill her tea or grab a glass of water. If you're watching TV or reading, stand up during a commercial break or after finishing a chapter. You could even do a few gentle leg swings or arm circles to get your joints moving. The goal is to keep your body active in small, manageable ways so your joints don't have a chance to stiffen up. If you're someone who enjoys a bit of structure, you might set up a movement station near where you sit, a spot with a sturdy chair or counter where you can do a quick stretch or two. It's like giving your joints a little pep talk to stay loose and ready for the day. By weaving these micro movements into your morning, you're not just helping your joints, you're also boosting your circulation and even your mood. It's amazing how something so simple can make you feel so much better. Now, let's move on to the fourth habit that could be quietly sabotaging your joints, and this one's a bit sneaky because it feels like the right thing to do, ignoring mild joint pain instead of addressing it. Mornings can be a busy time, right? You're getting breakfast ready, maybe planning your day, or just trying to enjoy a moment of peace. So when you feel a little twinge in your knee or a slight ache in your shoulder, it's tempting to brush it off. Maybe you tell yourself, "Oh, it's just age," or "It'll go away on its own." And sometimes, it does. But after 65, ignoring those small signals from your body can lead to bigger problems down the road. That mild discomfort could be your joints asking for a little attention, and dismissing it might mean missing a chance to prevent more serious pain. I'll never forget a conversation I had with my cousin Robert, who's 72. He's an active guy, loves his daily walks and tinkering in his garage. But he started noticing a nagging pain in his elbow every morning. He figured it was nothing, just a sign of getting older, and kept on with his routine. A few months later, that nothing turned into tendinitis that took weeks of rest and therapy to heal. When he finally saw a doctor, they pointed out that the pain was likely from repetitive strain, made worse because he didn't adjust his activities early on. Robert admitted he wished he'd listened to his body sooner instead of powering through. Here's why this matters. After 65, our joints are more vulnerable to inflammation, minor injuries, or conditions like arthritis. A small ache could be a sign of overuse, poor posture, or even the early stages of something that needs attention. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It's like ignoring a flickering check engine light in your car. Eventually, the problem gets harder to fix. But the good news is that addressing mild joint pain doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. It's about tuning into your body and taking small, proactive steps. So, what can you do instead? First, start by noticing the pain, don't dismiss it. Ask yourself, when does it happen? Is it worse after certain activities? Does it ease up with rest? Keeping a mental note or even jotting it down can help you spot patterns. Then, try some gentle self-care. For example, if your knees ache after walking, try applying a warm compress for 10 minutes to relax the muscles and increase blood flow. If your shoulders feel tight, do some slow, controlled stretches, like reaching one arm across your body and holding it gently. Ice can be helpful, too. If you notice swelling or heat in the joint, just wrap it in a cloth and apply for about 10 minutes. Another step is to adjust your activities temporarily. If you suspect a certain task, like lifting heavy grocery bags, is triggering the pain, find ways to lighten the load, maybe use a cart or ask for help. And don't hesitate to talk to a professional if the pain persists for more than a week or starts affecting your daily life. A doctor or physical therapist can offer tailored advice, like specific exercises or even simple aids like a brace for extra support. I know it can feel daunting to make that appointment, but think of it as an investment in staying active and pain-free for years to come. One thing that's helped a lot of people is incorporating anti-inflammatory habits into their mornings. Drinking a glass of water with a squeeze of lemon first thing can hydrate you and provide a mild anti-inflammatory boost. Or try adding a handful of berries to your breakfast. Blueberries and strawberries are packed with antioxidants that support joint health. These little tweaks, combined with listening to your body, can keep those minor aches from turning into major issues. By addressing mild pain early, you're giving your joints the care they deserve, so you can keep doing the things that bring you joy, whether that's gardening, dancing, or just moving through your day with ease. Let's dive into the final piece of this puzzle, bringing it all together to help you start your mornings in a way that keeps your joints happy and healthy. As we've been chatting about these morning habits, I hope you're starting to see how small, intentional choices can make a big difference in how your joints feel. We've talked about warming up your body, choosing joint-friendly exercises, breaking up long periods of sitting, and listening to those little twinges of pain. Each of these steps is like a gentle nudge to your joints, reminding them to stay flexible and strong. But the beauty of it all is that you don't need to overhaul your entire routine, just tweak a few things to set yourself up for pain-free, active days. Let's bring it all together now, tying these ideas into a morning that feels good for your body and your spirit, and I'll share a few final thoughts to keep you inspired. One thing I love about mornings is that they're a fresh start, a chance to do something kind for yourself. When you avoid these harmful habits, you're not just protecting your joints, you're giving yourself the gift of moving through your day with more ease and confidence. Imagine waking up, doing a few gentle stretches while your coffee brews, then heading out for a walk that feels energizing instead of taxing. Picture sitting down to enjoy your breakfast or read the paper, but standing up every 20 minutes to keep your hips and knees happy. And when you feel that occasional ache, you pause, listen to your body, and take a small step to soothe it, maybe a warm compress or a quick stretch. That's what a joint-friendly morning looks like, and it's entirely within your reach. Let's zoom in on how to make this practical. Start your day with intention. Before you even get out of bed, try those ankle circles we talked about, 5 in each direction, nice and slow. It's like saying good morning to your joints. Then, as you move into your routine, keep low-impact movement in mind. If you're someone who loves a morning workout, maybe swap that high-energy dance video for a gentle yoga flow or a walk around the block. You don't have to give up what you love, just adapt it to be kinder to your body. For example, my friend Susan, who's 69, used to do a fast-paced aerobics class every morning. Her knees started protesting, so she switched to a seated exercise routine she found online. She still gets her heart rate up, but her joints thank her for it. While you're sipping your tea or catching up on the news, set a little reminder to move every 20 minutes. It could be as simple as standing up to stretch your arms overhead or taking a short stroll to the mailbox. These micro breaks are like mini vacations for your joints, keeping them from getting stiff. And if you notice any discomfort, a creaky wrist or a sore hip, don't ignore it. Try a warm towel or a gentle massage, and make a mental note to check in with yourself the next day. If it keeps up, a quick chat with your doctor can give you peace of mind and a plan to stay active. Here's a little story to bring it home. My Uncle George, who's 74, used to think joint pain was just something he had to live with. Every morning, he'd sit for hours reading his mystery novels, then struggle to stand up because his back and knees felt so tight. He'd push through the pain, thinking it was normal. But after we talked about these habits, he decided to try something new. He started doing a 5-minute stretch routine before breakfast, switched his morning jog to a leisurely walk, and set a timer to stand up every half hour while reading. He even started using a heating pad when his back felt achy. A few weeks later, he called me up, so excited. He said he felt 10 years younger, and he was back to tinkering in his shed without wincing every time he bent down. It wasn't magic, it was just small, consistent changes that added up. What I want you to take away is that you have the power to make your mornings work for you, not against you. These habits we've talked about aren't about restriction, they're about freedom. Freedom to move without pain, to enjoy the activities that light you up, to live your days feeling strong and capable. You don't need to be perfect or do everything at once. Pick one thing to try tomorrow morning, maybe those ankle circles or standing up during your coffee break, and see how it feels. Small steps lead to big changes, and your joints will thank you for every one. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you noticed any morning habits that make your joints feel better or worse? Maybe you've got a favorite stretch or a low-impact exercise you swear by. Share your thoughts, I read every comment, and it's so inspiring to hear your stories. And if this video helped you even a little, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, too. I'm working toward 1,000 subscribers so I can keep bringing you tips to live your healthiest, happiest life. Your support means the world. Here's to mornings that feel good, joints that move with ease, and a life full of energy at any age. You've got this, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way. Have you ever noticed that you're getting up more at night to use the bathroom than you used to? Or maybe you felt thirstier during the day, even though you're drinking water like you always have? These things might seem like just another part of getting older, but sometimes, they're not. Sometimes, your body is whispering something important, and we just need to listen a little more closely. If you've ever brushed off these small changes, thinking they're nothing to worry about, you're not alone. But today, I want to gently invite you to take another look, because your health and your peace of mind are worth it. You see, after 60, our bodies go through changes that can sometimes mask early symptoms of chronic conditions, especially diabetes. And while diabetes might sound like something you'd know right away if you had it, the truth is, many people live for years without realizing it's affecting them. Why? Because the signs can be subtle. They sneak in slowly, changes in your mood, how you sleep, how you feel after meals, and before you know it, it's taken a toll. But here's the good news, if you catch these signs early, you can take simple steps to stay in control and feel better every day. So in today's video, we're going to talk about 6 of the sneakiest signs of diabetes that often go unnoticed, especially in people over 60. These aren't the classic signs your doctor might mention. These are the quiet ones. The ones that hide in plain sight. And by learning to spot them, you're giving yourself the gift of prevention, of clarity, and of a longer, healthier life. If topics like health, healing, and living meaningfully after 60 speak to your heart, I'd love for you to give this video a like, share it with someone you care about, and hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to reach 1,000 subscribers so we can continue growing this community of wisdom, care, and well-being together. Now, let's begin with the first sign, a small thing that can quietly disrupt your days, feeling tired all the time, even after a good night's sleep. Fatigue. It's easy to blame it on age, right? Maybe you've told yourself, well, I'm not 30 anymore. But when that exhaustion lingers, even when you're getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep, it might be something more. People with undiagnosed diabetes often experience ongoing fatigue because their bodies can't use sugar for energy the way they're supposed to. The sugar stays in the blood instead of moving into the cells, which means you can feel drained no matter how much you rest. Imagine your body like a car. You're filling it up with fuel, but the fuel isn't getting to the engine. It just sits there in the tank, useless. That's what happens when insulin isn't doing its job properly. You eat, but your energy doesn't follow. So, if you're waking up already tired, if you need a nap just to get through the afternoon, don't brush it off. Take a moment to really tune into how often it's happening. If it's more than just once in a while, it might be time to speak with your doctor about checking your blood sugar levels. Now, let's talk about another sign that often flies under the radar, something that might seem small, but can really affect your daily life: blurry vision that comes and goes. It's easy to think, well, I'm getting older. Of course my eyesight is changing. And yes, aging eyes do change. But when your vision gets blurry, and then seems to clear up later, or if you're noticing difficulty focusing on words or screens, especially after eating, it could be something more. Blood sugar levels that swing up and down can affect the tiny blood vessels in your eyes, leading to swelling that causes blurred vision. What's tricky is that this blurriness can be temporary, so you might not mention it during your next eye exam. One woman I spoke with recently said she noticed she couldn't read the newspaper in the morning without squinting, but by lunchtime, her vision had cleared. She just thought it was her eyes adjusting to light. But after a checkup, she discovered she had prediabetes, and those swings in vision were her body's quiet alarm bells. Once she began managing her blood sugar more consistently, with small changes to how she ate and moved, her vision stabilized, and so did her energy. So if you've been reaching for your glasses more often than usual, or adjusting the font size on your phone day after day, take a moment to ask yourself, is this just my eyes, or could there be something more going on? Let's move to a third sign now, one that shows up not in how you feel, but in how your skin feels. Dry, itchy skin, especially on your legs or elbows. This one is tricky, because dry skin is so common, especially in cooler weather or when we're not drinking enough water. But when that dryness becomes more intense, accompanied by a crawling sensation, or itchiness that keeps you up at night, it might be a signal that your circulation isn't working as well as it used to. High blood sugar can damage small blood vessels and nerves, especially in your extremities. This affects how well your skin stays hydrated and healthy. If you've noticed that your usual lotion isn't helping much anymore, or that you're scratching more than usual, even without a rash, it might be worth paying closer attention. The skin is one of our most honest messengers. It speaks up when something inside is out of balance. One gentleman told me he always thought his itchy legs were from dry weather, but when his doctor checked, his A1C levels were elevated. It turned out he was in the early stages of type 2 diabetes. He was shocked. He didn't feel sick. He wasn't overweight. But that itching had been telling him something for months. And here's the heart of it, none of these signs mean something is definitely wrong. They're just whispers, clues your body gives you, asking you to pause and check in. And that simple act of paying attention could be the turning point that helps you avoid complications down the line. Now that we've uncovered a few of these quieter, more surprising signs, fatigue, vision changes, and dry skin, let's keep going, because there are more signals the body sends when it needs help, and they're just as easy to miss. We've talked about how fatigue, blurry vision, and dry, itchy skin can sometimes be more than just signs of aging. They might be your body trying to tell you that your blood sugar isn't where it should be. But those aren't the only whispers we need to listen to. There's another sign, quiet but persistent, that affects how we enjoy our meals and our time with loved ones: changes in your appetite or sudden weight loss without even trying. Now, you might think, well, losing a few pounds isn't such a bad thing, right? But when the weight drops off without any change in your diet or activity, it can sometimes be a red flag. For people with diabetes, this happens when the body can't use glucose properly for energy. So instead, it starts breaking down fat and muscle to find fuel. And the result? You lose weight, but not in a healthy, intentional way. You might also feel hungrier more often, even after eating a full meal. I remember speaking to a man in his mid-60s who told me, I was eating like I always had, but the weight just kept falling off. At first, he thought it was a good thing. But he also noticed he was feeling more tired and thirsty, and when his wife encouraged him to get checked, the diagnosis came, type 2 diabetes. He hadn't seen it coming, but looking back, the clues had been there for months. The hunger, the weight loss, the energy dips, it all made sense. And once he started managing it, not only did he stabilize his weight, but he felt more in control, more grounded, and far less anxious. So if you've noticed your clothes fitting looser without trying, or you're constantly reaching for snacks between meals, pause for a moment. It might be time to check in with your doctor and see what's going on beneath the surface. Right alongside appetite changes, there's another sneaky sign that can be easy to overlook, especially as we get older, feeling moody, down, or unusually irritable. Now, we all have days when we feel off, when the little things get under our skin. But if you're finding yourself unusually short-tempered, restless, or even struggling with a low mood that doesn't seem to lift, it might not just be a bad day. Blood sugar imbalances can affect the brain just as much as the body. When sugar levels spike and crash, it's like your emotions go on a roller coaster ride. 1 minute, you're fine. The next, you're snapping at someone or feeling overwhelmed for no reason. It's frustrating, not just for you, but for the people around you. And what makes it even trickier is that mood changes are often blamed on stress, sleep issues, or even just aging itself. But here's what's empowering: when you understand that your mood might be connected to something physical, something you can check and manage, you take back some of that control. One woman in her 70s told me she had been feeling unusually anxious and tearful for months. She thought it was just the loneliness of retirement or maybe hormonal changes. But after a routine screening, she found out her blood sugar levels were high. With just a few adjustments, eating more balanced meals, going for gentle walks, and reducing sugary snacks, her mood began to lift, slowly but surely. So if you've been feeling a little more emotionally fragile lately, give yourself grace. And maybe, also give yourself the gift of checking in, because your emotional well-being matters just as much as your physical health. And now, let's talk about one more sign, a subtle, often embarrassing one that many people don't talk about: frequent infections or wounds that take longer to heal. Maybe it's a cut on your hand that just won't close up. Or a mild urinary tract infection that keeps coming back, even after treatment. You might think, well, I'm older now. Things take longer. But in many cases, high blood sugar slows down the healing process and weakens your immune system. Think of it like this: sugar in your bloodstream is sticky. It makes it harder for white blood cells, the ones that fight infection, to move freely and do their job. That means your body has a tougher time defending itself, even against little things. So something as small as a blister from new shoes, or a paper cut, can linger longer than it should. And when infections become more frequent, it's another signal your body may be struggling to regulate sugar. A friend of mine had this exact issue: he kept getting small infections on his gums. His dentist mentioned it could be blood sugar related, and sure enough, after a checkup, he found his glucose levels were higher than normal. It wasn't just about his mouth, it was about his whole body trying to raise a flag. But here's the most important part of all this: none of these signs mean there's something wrong with you. These aren't failures. They're signals. They're messages from your body saying, hey, I need a little help over here. And that's a beautiful thing, because when we listen to those messages with kindness instead of fear, we open the door to healing, to strength, and to peace of mind. So far, we've covered some of the quieter symptoms of diabetes that can affect your skin, your eyes, your weight, your mood, and even your body's ability to bounce back from everyday cuts and infections. Each one on its own might not seem like much. But when you begin to connect the dots, you can catch the signs early, and take action that protects your energy, your independence, and your joy. Let's keep going, because there's still one more important signal to explore, one that hides in something we do every single day, often without thinking about it. It's something that feels so routine, so ordinary, we hardly ever stop to think about it, until it starts changing in ways we can't quite explain. I'm talking about going to the bathroom. Specifically, how often, how urgently, and even how you feel afterward. Now, let's be honest here, nobody really wants to talk about their trips to the bathroom. But this is one of those moments where being just a little more aware can make all the difference. One of the sneakiest early signs of diabetes, especially in older adults, is frequent urination, going far more often than usual, even in the middle of the night. And with that, there's often another clue, an unquenchable thirst. It works like this: when your blood sugar is too high, your kidneys try to flush it out through your urine. So you end up going more often, and in turn, you get dehydrated. That leaves you constantly thirsty, even if you're drinking water all day long. It's a frustrating loop: drink, pee, repeat, and for many older adults, it can also disturb your sleep, making it harder to feel rested and clear-headed during the day. One woman in her early 70s shared with me that she was waking up 4 or 5 times a night to go to the bathroom. At first, she blamed it on aging or maybe her tea before bed. But then came the thirst. And the fatigue. Eventually, she realized something wasn't quite right and went to her doctor. Her blood sugar was high. After some gentle lifestyle changes and support from her care team, the nighttime trips lessened, and her energy returned. She told me she hadn't realized how much her sleep and mood had been affected until they started to improve. What I love about stories like hers is that they remind us of this powerful truth: our bodies are always speaking to us. The key is learning to listen without fear and without judgment. Now, after walking through these 6 quiet signs: tiredness, blurry vision, dry skin, unexpected weight changes, frequent infections, and bathroom shifts, you might be wondering, what do I do with all this information? The first thing is to simply take a moment and reflect. Have any of these things been happening to you lately? Maybe you brushed them off. Maybe you figured it was just part of getting older. And sometimes, yes, it might be. But if something doesn't feel quite right, you have every right to ask questions. You have every right to advocate for yourself. The next step? Talk to your doctor. Don't worry about sounding dramatic or like you're making something out of nothing. That's what they're there for. And if it turns out your blood sugar is slightly elevated or in the early stages, that doesn't mean a life sentence. In fact, it means you have time. Time to make small changes, one at a time. And those changes can lead to a fuller, freer life. Start by looking at what's on your plate. Are you getting a balance of fiber, lean protein, and healthy fats? Can you gently reduce the sugary drinks or processed snacks? You don't need a perfect diet. You just need one that supports your body, step by step. Think about movement, not as exercise, but as a gift to your heart, your brain, your joints. A 10-minute walk after lunch. A gentle stretch in the morning. Even dancing a little in your kitchen while the kettle boils. All of that counts. And finally, surround yourself with kindness. That means kindness from others, but also from yourself. You didn't miss the signs. You're here now. You're learning. You're growing. That matters. I want to leave you with this thought: from one heart to another, getting older isn't about winding down. It's about becoming more deeply connected to who you are, what matters most, and how to care for yourself with grace and joy. Your body might be changing, but you are not broken. You are still capable of feeling vibrant, strong, and full of purpose. So if something in today's video resonated with you, if you saw even one of these signs in your own story or someone you love, I'd love for you to leave a comment below. Share your thoughts. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found this video helpful, please take a second to give it a like. Share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're building a warm, caring community of people who believe in living well at every age, and I'd be honored to have you on that journey with us. Because here's the truth, no matter what challenges you face, you are never too old, never too late, and never too far gone to take care of your health. Every small step you take today is an investment in a brighter, more peaceful tomorrow. So drink your water, get some fresh air, rest well, and listen to your beautiful body. It's doing its best to take care of you. Now it's your turn to take care of it. Here's to living your best life at any age. Take good care, and I'll see you in the next video. Have you ever noticed how your energy seems to run out faster than it used to? Maybe it happens right after breakfast or when you're just halfway through folding the laundry. A simple trip to the grocery store leaves you needing a nap. And sometimes, even without doing much at all, there's this lingering feeling, tired, drained, a bit foggy. If you've felt like that lately, you are absolutely not alone. And here's the good news, it doesn't have to stay that way. Aging brings changes, there's no denying that. The body slows down, and the immune system becomes a little more sensitive, a little more delicate. But that doesn't mean we simply surrender to fatigue, poor sleep, or frequent sniffles as if it's all just part of getting older. No. The truth is, there are small, everyday choices we make, often without realizing, that can quietly chip away at our immune health. But the moment we recognize those habits, we can start to gently turn things around. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 of the most common mistakes people over 70 unknowingly make, habits that silently weaken the immune system and steal our vitality. And more importantly, we'll talk about what you can do instead, starting today, to feel stronger, healthier, and more alive in your own skin. If you enjoy conversations about staying healthy, emotionally grounded, and living with purpose in this chapter of life, I'd love to have you join our little community here. Please give this video a like, share it with someone you care about, and press the subscribe button. I'm working toward reaching 1,000 subscribers so I can continue creating content that truly helps. Your support means the world to me. Now, let's begin with the first common mistake, something that might seem harmless on the surface but has a surprisingly big impact on your daily energy and immunity. One of the quietest ways we wear ourselves down is by not getting enough natural sunlight. Now, I'm not talking about lying out in the sun for hours, heavens no. But spending most of our time indoors, especially in the early morning hours, can mess with our internal rhythm and affect the body's production of vitamin D. And vitamin D is more than just a bone strengthener. It plays a vital role in regulating the immune system. When we don't get enough of it, we can feel sluggish, more prone to colds, and even experience low mood. Just imagine this for a moment. You wake up, make a cup of tea, maybe read the paper at the kitchen table. But what if, instead of staying indoors for that part of your morning, you stepped outside? Even 5 to 10 minutes of morning light, on your skin and in your eyes, can help your body wake up properly, reset your internal clock, and give your immune system a little boost. If you have a porch, a balcony, or even a sunny window, that's a great place to start. Just breathe in, look around, feel the warmth on your face. That simple act alone can make a difference more powerful than many people realize. Now let's talk about the second mistake, something many of us were taught was polite or proper, but which can actually wear down the immune system over time. I'm talking about holding in your emotions, especially stress and worry. Many of us grew up in a time when you were expected to keep your chin up or not burden others. And while there's strength in staying calm through tough times, suppressing emotions completely can turn into a kind of silent pressure that the body carries day after day. When we feel stress or anxiety and don't acknowledge it or find ways to release it, our immune system feels it too. The body produces stress hormones like cortisol, which in small doses can help, but when stress becomes constant, those hormones begin to dampen the immune response. It's like our internal defenses are always stuck in a state of alert, and eventually they wear out. So, what can we do instead? We talk. We write. We breathe. Sometimes just having a safe conversation with someone you trust, a neighbor, a grandchild, a friend, even a pet, can lighten the emotional load. Journaling, too, can be healing. Just put your thoughts down without worrying if they sound poetic or proper. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be free. And breathing, yes, even breathing differently, can help. Deep belly breaths, slowly in and out, a few minutes a day. It tells the nervous system, you're safe now. You can rest. And when the nervous system calms down, the immune system can do its job better. Now, let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you truly felt thirsty? If you had to stop and think, that might be part of the issue. That brings us to the third mistake that sneaks up on so many of us, underhydration. Yes, not drinking enough water. And no, coffee and tea don't count the same way. As we get older, the body's thirst signals don't work quite as clearly as they used to. We might think, I'm not thirsty, I must be fine. But dehydration can creep in subtly. It can make us feel tired, dizzy, confused, even grumpy. Worse, it also affects how well our cells can fight off infections. Water helps flush out toxins, supports digestion, and keeps the mucous membranes in our nose and throat moist. Those are the frontline defenders against bacteria and viruses. The fix? Keep a small glass or bottle of water nearby throughout the day. Make it part of your routine. Maybe a glass before breakfast, one after your walk, and another mid-afternoon. If plain water doesn't appeal, try adding a slice of lemon or cucumber for a bit of taste. Herbal teas, unsweetened, can also be soothing and hydrating. Think of it this way, every sip you take is a little act of care, a quiet promise to your body that you're looking after it, even in the smallest ways. Now that we've touched on sunlight, emotional expression, and hydration, let's keep going. Because when you understand how these small shifts connect to your well-being, it becomes easier to build a life that feels stronger, steadier, and more joyful every day. So now that we've begun to gently look at how sunlight, unspoken emotions, and hydration play a quiet role in the way we feel each day, it's time to explore another subtle but powerful factor, something that happens every single night, and yet often gets overlooked. I'm talking about sleep, or more specifically, the mistake of not protecting your sleep routine. It's funny, isn't it? We spend a third of our lives sleeping, and yet we rarely stop to think about the quality of that sleep. Many people over 70 begin to notice their sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented. Some wake up often in the night, others rise at dawn regardless of when they went to bed. And gradually, poor sleep becomes the norm. But the immune system never stops working, it repairs, rebuilds, and rebalances while we sleep. So, when rest becomes shallow or broken, the body doesn't get a chance to restore itself fully. The body is wiser than we think, and it loves rhythm. Going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time each day sends a calming signal to the brain, you're safe. You can let go. Creating a simple evening ritual can help your body ease into that rest. Maybe it's dimming the lights an hour before bed, turning off the news, or listening to soft music or an audiobook that soothes your thoughts. And here's a gentle suggestion. Try not to fall asleep in front of the TV. It may feel comforting, but the blue light and noise keep the brain slightly alert, even in sleep. Instead, choose something quiet and familiar. A warm foot soak. A small cup of chamomile tea. Reading a few pages from a book that brings you peace. It's not about doing things perfectly, it's about finding what gently invites rest into your body. Because true rest isn't just closing your eyes. It's feeling safe, warm, and unburdened enough to let go. And when you sleep deeply, your immune system hums along, doing what it's meant to do, protecting you from the inside out. let's keep moving. Because there's one more everyday habit that often sneaks up on us, even when we're trying to do the right thing. And that is the mistake of eating too little, or eating too much of the wrong kinds of food. You see, as we age, our appetite might change. Some people eat less simply because they're not cooking for others anymore. Others find comfort in easy-to-reach foods like crackers, toast, or sweets, especially when energy is low or the day feels quiet. And while it's completely natural to lean towards simplicity, the immune system needs nourishment, real nourishment, to stay alert and ready. The immune system isn't just a switch you flip on. It's a vast network of cells, proteins, and messages that depends on vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to stay sharp. That means foods rich in color and variety, vegetables, berries, nuts, olive oil, fish, beans, and whole grains, are like fuel for your defenses. They don't need to be fancy or expensive. Even a bowl of warm lentil soup, a handful of blueberries, or a scrambled egg with some spinach can work wonders. What really matters is that meals feel balanced and nurturing. Try to include a little bit of protein with each meal, something like yogurt, a boiled egg, or a few slices of chicken. Protein helps build the white blood cells that fight off viruses and bacteria. Don't worry if your portions are small. What counts is the regularity and variety. And let's not forget joy. Eating should be something you look forward to. If you've lost a bit of that spark, try inviting it back. Maybe light a candle at dinner, even if you're eating alone. Put on music that reminds you of your younger years. Call a friend and have lunch over the phone. Food doesn't just feed the body, it feeds the soul. And when we feel nourished emotionally, our immune systems often follow suit. There's a kind of beauty in paying attention to these little things. They're not dramatic, not loud, not complicated. But they matter. You don't need 100 supplements or fancy health plans. Sometimes, just taking a walk in the morning sun, speaking your heart, sipping a glass of water, resting well, and feeding your body with care is more than enough. When you treat your body with that level of compassion, your body begins to respond. Slowly, steadily. Your energy returns. Your sleep deepens. Your skin feels warmer. And even if you're still managing health challenges, and we all are, in some way, you'll start to feel a deeper sense of stability. Like you're on your own side again. Like you haven't been forgotten, not by yourself, not by your body, and certainly not by life. And if you're watching this and thinking, well, I've already made all these mistakes, I want you to know, there's no blame here. Not even a little bit. We do the best we can with what we know. And every single day is a new opportunity to make one small choice that brings you closer to health, peace, and joy. That's all we can ask of ourselves. So far, we've talked about how sunlight, emotions, hydration, rest, and nourishment all play a role in your immune strength. But there's still one more everyday habit that deserves our attention, one that may surprise you with how much power it holds, even if it seems small on the surface. Let's keep walking this path together. You're doing beautifully. So, let's take a gentle breath together now. You've already come so far just by being open to learning, open to listening, and maybe even open to making one or two small changes that could help you feel just a little stronger tomorrow than you did yesterday. And that brings us to one final, quiet mistake that many people don't even realize they're making. It's easy to miss, especially in the slower rhythm of life after 70. But it can chip away at your immune system just the same. It's the habit of isolation, of going long stretches without meaningful connection. And I don't just mean being physically alone. Sometimes, even when others are around, we can still feel a little invisible, can't we? Like we're watching life from a distance instead of being a part of it. That quiet loneliness, even if we don't speak it aloud, can actually affect the body more than we realize. It increases stress hormones, lowers immunity, and can even make healing slower. But the good news, the really wonderful news, is that connection doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't have to involve big social gatherings or long conversations. Sometimes, just a warm exchange with a neighbor, a phone call with an old friend, or even a smile shared with someone at the grocery store is enough to remind your heart, I belong. I matter. I'm not forgotten. And in today's world, even if distance keeps people physically apart, you'd be amazed how deeply people appreciate a handwritten note or a simple text message. Thinking of you today. That's all it takes to open a door. And you might be surprised who walks through it. Many folks are just waiting for a sign that someone still sees them. If you have grandkids or nieces and nephews, try asking them to help you learn a bit of technology, maybe a video call or even sending voice messages. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to become a tech wizard overnight. But these small efforts to reach out can build a bridge, not only toward others, but back to your own vitality. Because when we feel connected, truly connected, something changes inside. Our breath softens. Our hearts lift just a little. And our bodies, our amazing, resilient, still capable bodies, begin to respond. The immune system, too, listens to these quiet messages of hope and togetherness. It strengthens when we feel safe, seen, and supported. And just to be clear, this isn't about suddenly becoming more social or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about honoring your own rhythm while still inviting gentle, meaningful interaction into your life. Even time spent with a pet, a plant, or writing in a journal can bring that sense of presence and care that the immune system so deeply craves. Now, as we take a step back and look at everything we've explored together, I hope you can see that boosting your immune system at this stage of life doesn't have to involve drastic changes. There's no pressure to be perfect, no need to overhaul your whole routine. The real magic lies in the quiet, doable shifts, the kind you can start today. Let the sun kiss your skin in the morning. Speak your truth to someone who cares. Drink your water slowly, like a gift. Create a bedtime that feels peaceful and protected. Feed your body with simple, colorful meals. And most of all, reach out when your heart needs warmth. These are not just habits. They're acts of love for your body, your mind, your spirit. And every single one of them whispers to your immune system, I'm still here. I still matter. I choose life. Remember, there is no age where it's too late to start feeling better. There's no number that defines your worth or your strength. At 70, 80, even 90, you are still allowed to feel vibrant. You are still allowed to grow, to heal, and to change. And above all, you are still deeply needed in this world. So if this message touched you today, I'd love for you to leave a comment below. Share one small change you're planning to make. Or maybe just say hello and let us know where you're watching from. Because someone else might be reading those comments too, and your words could be the very encouragement they've been waiting for. And if this kind of content nourishes you, if you enjoy conversations about health, emotions, and living with meaning no matter your age, then please give this video a like, share it with someone you love, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm walking this journey with you, and together, we can build a space that uplifts and strengthens our entire community. Your health is not behind you, it's still with you. And so is your ability to live fully. Let's cherish that truth. Let's honor our bodies. And let's keep choosing, every day, to care for ourselves with kindness and intention. Here's to living your best life, at any age, and especially right now. Have you ever stood up from your favorite chair, only to feel a little off balance? Or maybe you bumped into the corner of a table, and a dark purple bruise showed up faster than you expected? It might seem small. Just a stumble. Just a bruise. But sometimes, these are little whispers from our bodies, telling us something deeper is going on. And if you've had that feeling too, believe me, you're not alone. As we age, our bodies go through changes that aren't always obvious. We may not notice our bones slowly losing their strength, or our posture changing just a little over time. And because it's so gradual, we might brush it off. I'm just getting older, we say. But here's the thing, it's not just age. It could be a sign that our bones are crying out for help. It could be osteoporosis. Osteoporosis doesn't make a big entrance. It doesn't come with sharp pain or sudden symptoms in the beginning. In fact, many people don't even realize they have it until something serious happens, like a broken hip after a fall. That's why this conversation matters. Because the earlier we notice the signs, the better chance we have of protecting ourselves. And I want you to feel strong, steady, and confident, not afraid of a misstep or worried every time you walk down the stairs. In today's video, we're going to talk about something that I think everyone over 60 should hear, the 4 quiet but critical warning signs of osteoporosis. These are signs you might not have realized are connected to your bones, but they absolutely are. And most importantly, we're going to talk about what you can do about them. There are simple, daily steps you can take to strengthen your bones and feel more stable. It's never too late to make changes, and they don't have to be drastic to be effective. And hey, if you love topics about health, emotional wellness, and living a meaningful life after 60, I'd be so grateful if you gave this video a like, shared it with someone you care about, and hit that subscribe button. I'm on a journey to reach 1,000 subscribers, and with your support, I can keep creating content that helps us all feel a little more vibrant, a little more alive, every day. Alright, now let's start with the first subtle sign that your bones might be weakening, and what you can do to take back control of your bone health. Let's talk about height. Yes, height. Have you ever noticed that your pants are suddenly too long? Or someone you haven't seen in a while says, "You look shorter." It might feel like a strange thing to point out, but losing height is one of the earliest and most overlooked signs of osteoporosis. You see, our spine is made up of small bones called vertebrae. When osteoporosis sets in, those bones can start to collapse in tiny ways. Not enough to cause immediate pain, but enough that over months or years, you lose an inch here, an inch there. It might be tempting to chalk it up to bad posture or age, but it's worth paying attention to. Shrinking in height by more than half an inch a year or more than 2 inches overall could be a red flag. It doesn't mean something terrible is happening, but it does mean your bones might be calling out for a little love and attention. So what can you do? First, don't ignore the change. Get your height checked once a year, at your regular doctor visits, or even at home using a flat wall and a pencil. Keep track. Second, think about posture exercises. Gentle yoga, tai chi, or simple stretches can keep your spine aligned and your muscles strong. And finally, get your calcium and vitamin D. You don't need fancy supplements right away. Sometimes, a glass of milk, leafy greens, or a sunny walk can do wonders. Talk with your doctor to see what's best for you. Now, let's move to another sign that can sneak up on you, the one that might show up when you least expect it. Imagine this, you're reaching up to grab a plate, or maybe turning quickly to look behind you, and suddenly, a sharp pain in your back or hip flares up. Not from an injury, not from overexertion. It just happens. This kind of sudden, unexplained pain, especially in the lower back or hips, could be a silent fracture. These silent, or compression, fractures are exactly what they sound like. They don't always come with swelling or bruising, so they're easy to ignore or misdiagnose. You might just feel sore for a few days and assume you slept funny or strained something. But if it keeps happening, or feels deep and aching rather than muscular, it might be more than a pulled muscle. Now here's where we take action. First, if you experience that kind of pain, don't tough it out. Get it checked. A bone density scan can be quick and painless and give you a clear picture of what's happening beneath the surface. Second, take a moment to think about your daily movements. Are you lifting heavy things suddenly? Are you bending or twisting too fast? Try to move with a little more intention. Use your legs when lifting. Avoid jerky twists. Protect your back the way you'd protect a fragile heirloom, because really, it is. And please know, feeling pain doesn't mean you're weak. It means your body is trying to talk to you. And when we listen, we give ourselves the chance to heal before things get worse. Now, let's move gently into another sign that many people notice, but few connect to bone health. Have you ever caught yourself hunching forward, or felt like it's getting harder to stand or sit up straight for long periods of time? Maybe your shoulders slump a bit, or you've noticed a curve in the upper part of your back that didn't used to be there. That hunched posture, or what doctors call a dowager's hump, can be one of the clearest external signs of weakening spinal bones. When the vertebrae compress, the spine naturally starts to bend forward. It's not just a matter of appearance. That curve can throw off your balance, make walking more difficult, and even affect your breathing if it gets severe enough. Here's the good news. You can absolutely work to improve this. Gentle resistance exercises, like light hand weights or resistance bands, can help strengthen the muscles along your spine. And daily awareness of your posture, just taking a moment to check in with how you're sitting or standing, can make a world of difference. Even sitting against a wall for a few minutes a day, with your shoulders back and feet flat on the ground, can help retrain your spine into better alignment. And you know what? It's not about looking like you're 20 again. It's about feeling upright, proud, and strong. It's about giving yourself the gift of movement, comfort, and confidence. Now that we've talked about shrinking height, sudden aches, and posture changes, let's look deeper into how our everyday actions might be revealing more about our bones than we think. Let's take a moment to think about something simple, standing on one foot. Try it right now if you're able, just for a second or two. Does it feel steady? Or a little shaky? Maybe you find yourself reaching for the back of a chair, just in case. Here's why I ask. One of the lesser-known warning signs of osteoporosis isn't just in your bones, it's in your balance. Our bones and muscles work together as a team. When bones become brittle, our body starts to compensate without us even realizing. You might start walking a bit slower, using your hands more to push off when you rise from a chair, or feeling unsure when the ground is uneven. That's your body adapting to subtle instability. The truth is, when your bones weaken, your sense of balance often follows, not because your inner ear has changed, but because your body no longer feels as structurally secure. It's not just inconvenient. Poor balance leads to more trips, more falls, and that's when fractures become dangerous. A single fall after 60 can change everything, especially if it results in a broken hip or wrist. That's why working on balance, even in tiny ways each day, is one of the kindest things you can do for your body. You don't need to join a gym or do anything extreme. Start small. Stand at your kitchen counter and lift one foot for 10 seconds while brushing your teeth. Walk in a straight line, heel to toe, like you're walking on a tightrope. Or try gentle ankle circles while seated to keep those stabilizer muscles engaged. These quiet little movements build confidence and coordination. And they don't just help prevent falls, they help you feel more in control, more grounded in your body. Balance is like trust, it builds slowly and disappears quickly. But if you stay consistent, your body remembers how to move with ease. And when you move with ease, every part of life feels a little lighter. Now, I want to share something a bit more personal. You know, I recently spoke with a woman in her 70s who told me something that stuck with me. She said, "I didn't know my bones were in trouble until I broke a rib while sneezing." That might sound dramatic, but it's more common than you think. And it leads us to another powerful warning sign: increased fragility. Have you ever had a bruise pop up from something you don't even remember hitting? Or felt soreness in a joint after a very minor activity? Maybe you pressed a little too hard closing a car door, or leaned on a counter a certain way, and later, there's a deep ache that lingers longer than it should. These are the kinds of subtle signs that your bones might not be as resilient as they used to be. Bones are living tissue. They regenerate. They get stronger with use. But if they're not getting the right signals, through weight-bearing movement, proper nutrients, or hormonal support, they can begin to thin. That thinning makes them more fragile, which means even a minor bump can have a bigger consequence. But again, this isn't something to fear. It's something to respond to, with gentleness and wisdom. One of the best ways to start building bone strength is through simple, weight-bearing movements. That doesn't mean lifting heavy weights or doing lunges in your living room. It can be as easy as walking with a bit more purpose. Climbing stairs. Gardening. Carrying groceries in both hands instead of one. These everyday movements give your bones the message, we're still needed. Stay strong. And don't forget your diet. Calcium gets all the attention, and it's important, but your bones also need magnesium, vitamin K2, and protein. That's right, protein isn't just for building muscle. It helps your bones, too. A bowl of yogurt, a few almonds, a serving of beans, they all count. Small, nourishing choices, made consistently, build resilience from the inside out. Let's not forget hydration. You might not think of water as connected to bone health, but dehydration affects everything from your joints to your spinal discs. So pour yourself a glass right now, your body will thank you. And while we're here, let me say something important. If you've already had a fracture, you are not broken. You are healing. And healing doesn't just mean mending bones, it means restoring faith in your body, one day at a time. Let's shift the lens a little now. Picture yourself in the morning. You wake up, stretch gently, maybe shuffle to the bathroom or the kitchen. Do you ever notice that your movements feel stiff, especially in your back or hips? That stiffness eases a little as the day goes on, but it returns again the next morning, like clockwork. This stiffness, especially if it's centered in your spine, could be a quiet companion of osteoporosis. You might think stiffness is just from getting older, but there's more to it. When bones start to lose density, they sometimes create microcompressions in the spine. That changes how your muscles react. They tighten to protect you. It's your body's way of saying, something here doesn't feel quite right. Now, instead of fighting the stiffness or ignoring it, what if we just met it with a little grace? Gentle movement first thing in the morning. A warm shower to relax the muscles. A slow roll of the shoulders. Stretch your arms up toward the ceiling. Do a few seated knee lifts to engage your core. None of this takes more than 5 minutes, but it sets a tone. It tells your body, I'm here. I care. And over time, that care adds up. The more you move with intention, the more flexible you feel. The more flexible you feel, the less tension builds up. And little by little, the stiffness gives way to strength. That's the beauty of this stage of life, we get to redefine what strength looks like. It's not about lifting heavy or pushing hard. It's about consistency, awareness, and love. When we tune into the whispers of our body, we give ourselves the gift of prevention instead of reaction. And that, my friend, is powerful. So here's what I'd love for you to do today, choose one small action. Maybe it's balancing while brushing your teeth. Maybe it's going for a walk after lunch. Maybe it's just standing a little taller while you wait for the kettle to boil. These moments may seem tiny, but they add up to a life that feels more solid, more supported, and more alive. You're not too old. It's not too late. Your bones are listening, and they're ready to get stronger with you. Now let's talk about something that most people don't realize is connected to their bones, height loss. Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, I swear I used to be taller? Or maybe you noticed your pants seem just a little longer than they used to be, or the top shelf in the kitchen feels a little more out of reach. You're not imagining it. Shrinking is real, and while a small decrease in height can be normal with age, more significant loss, especially over an inch or two, might be a sign that something deeper is happening in your spine. Your vertebrae, those small bones in your back, are like little building blocks that stack up to hold you upright. When osteoporosis sets in, those bones can start to compress, especially in the mid-back. These are called vertebral compression fractures, and often, they happen silently, without any big dramatic fall. Instead, you might just notice your posture changing. Shoulders slump forward, the back rounds a little more, and suddenly, it's harder to take a deep breath or look straight ahead when walking. That rounding isn't just a cosmetic change. It affects how you move, how you digest food, even how deeply you breathe. But here's the good news: you can improve your posture, protect your spine, and even slow or stop height loss by becoming more intentional with how you move through your day. Start with awareness. Pay attention to how you sit, especially during meals or when watching TV. Try sitting up just a bit taller, rolling your shoulders back, and lifting your chest ever so slightly. Imagine there's a string attached to the top of your head, gently pulling you upward. Even that small mental cue can make a huge difference. Add in some light back strengthening exercises, too. Things like shoulder blade squeezes while standing at the sink or gentle wall push-ups to engage your upper body. These movements encourage the muscles around your spine to stay active and supportive, giving your bones a better chance at staying strong. And don't underestimate the power of a good night's sleep, on a supportive mattress and pillow that keep your spine aligned. Rest is when your body heals. It's not lazy, it's necessary. Now, I know that all of this, balance, fragility, posture, can sound a little overwhelming. But I want you to hear this: your body is not against you. It is constantly trying to communicate with you. These signs, these sensations, they're not warnings of defeat. They're invitations to pay attention, to nurture, to heal. And healing doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It just means showing up for yourself in the small moments. Choosing movement over stillness when you can. Choosing nourishment over convenience when possible. Choosing curiosity over fear when you notice a change in your body. Let me tell you about Robert, a friend of mine in his late 60s. He used to joke that he was getting shorter by the week. He chalked it up to age, until one day he reached for a dish in his kitchen and felt a sharp pain in his back. Turns out, it was a vertebral fracture. That moment scared him, but it also changed him. He started walking every day, adding stretching to his morning routine, and with the help of his doctor, began a bone support supplement plan. A year later, he told me, "I didn't just stop shrinking, I started growing back into myself." That's the kind of transformation that's possible, no matter your age. Before we close, I want to leave you with something gentle but powerful: you are not fragile. You are not broken. You are dynamic, living, and capable of growth, inside and out. Aging doesn't mean losing. It means learning. It means discovering new ways to care for this incredible body that's carried you through so much already. So today, maybe you take a moment to listen to your body without judgment. Maybe you stretch a little more deeply. Maybe you reach out to a friend to go for a walk. Or maybe you simply pour yourself a glass of water and say, "I'm doing the best I can." Because you are. If anything we've shared today resonated with you, if you recognized yourself in the signs we talked about or felt inspired by the small steps you can take, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep sharing this kind of meaningful content with more people who truly need it. We're growing this community one heart at a time, and I'd be honored to have you on this journey. Remember, your bones are the framework of your life, but it's your spirit that holds it all together. Keep showing up. Keep choosing strength. Keep believing that you are worth every bit of care, love, and nourishment this world has to offer. Here's to living fully, joyfully, and powerfully, at any age. Have you ever noticed that lately, you just don't feel quite like yourself? Maybe your energy runs out faster than it used to. Maybe just walking to the mailbox leaves you needing to sit down for a while. Or perhaps your sleep feels restless, your mood more fragile, and your breath just a little shorter than before. If you've had moments like that, where something just feels off, believe me, you're not alone. And more importantly, it might be your heart trying to speak to you, quietly. Now, I know it's easy to chalk these things up to just getting older. That's what many of us do. But here's the truth, while aging does bring changes, it doesn't mean we have to silently accept every ache, every tired sigh, or every flutter of worry. Especially when it comes to the heart. The heart isn't just a muscle. It's the quiet engine behind every moment we cherish. And sometimes, when it starts to struggle, it whispers before it ever screams. That's why this conversation today is so important. Because there are signs, subtle, easily overlooked signs, that your heart might not be working as smoothly as it once did. They're not always dramatic. There's no pounding chest pain or flashing red light. Sometimes, it's something as ordinary as swollen ankles or feeling unusually tired. But these little clues, if we pay attention to them, can help us take action early, and protect not just our health, but our independence, our comfort, and our peace of mind. So in today's video, we're going to gently walk through 5 of these silent signs that your heart might be struggling, especially after 60. And don't worry, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to walk beside you, to help you tune into your body a little more kindly, and to remind you that even small changes can lead to big improvements in how you feel, day by day. And if you love topics like this, about health, emotional well-being, and how to live a life filled with meaning and calm, please give this video a like, share it with someone who might need it, and hit that subscribe button. I'm on a journey to reach 1,000 subscribers so we can keep growing this gentle community, where everyone matters and every story counts. Now, let's begin with one of the most overlooked signs, something many people think is just part of aging. But it could be your heart asking for help. Fatigue that lingers. Not just the kind that comes after a long day, but the kind that makes simple tasks feel like climbing a hill. Have you felt like your energy has drained even before the day really begins? Maybe brushing your hair, tidying up the living room, or making a cup of tea feels like it takes more effort than it used to. It's tempting to brush this off. Maybe you didn't sleep well, maybe the weather is gloomy, maybe it's just one of those days. But if this feeling lingers day after day, it's worth listening to. Because when the heart isn't pumping efficiently, your body doesn't get the oxygen it needs. That tiredness? It's not in your head. It's in your cells, craving more support. I remember speaking to a lovely man in his early 70s, let's call him Jim. He was always active, used to enjoy gardening and playing with his grandkids. Then, over the span of a few months, he just started slowing down. He thought maybe he was just getting old. But one morning, after needing to sit down while brushing his teeth, his wife gently nudged him to go in for a checkup. Turns out, his heart was working overtime trying to keep up. But the beauty of Jim's story is this, he caught it early. With some medication adjustments, light movement, and a few lifestyle tweaks, he was back planting tomatoes within weeks. The body is resilient, but we have to listen when it whispers. Now let's talk about another sign that seems harmless, even annoying at times, but it can be far more telling than most people realize. Swelling in your feet or ankles. Have you ever looked down and noticed your socks leaving deep marks around your ankles? Or maybe your shoes feel tighter by the afternoon than they did in the morning. This puffiness, especially when it's not related to standing too long or salty foods, can be your heart sending out a quiet distress signal. When the heart isn't pumping blood efficiently, fluid starts to back up, often in the legs and feet, thanks to gravity. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't scream. But it speaks. And if we pause long enough to notice it, we can respond before it becomes a bigger issue. It's okay to feel concerned when these things happen. But what I want to encourage you to do is this, approach your body with curiosity, not fear. Ask yourself, is this new? Is this lingering? Has this changed from a few months ago? Our bodies are like old friends. They tell us what they need, but they whisper. They don't always shout. And especially after 60, it's not about chasing youth. It's about honoring today's body, today's heart, and asking what it needs from us now. A gentle way to monitor swelling is to press a finger gently into your lower shin. If a dent stays behind for a while, that could be fluid retention. That doesn't mean panic, it means observation. It means calling your doctor, mentioning what you've noticed, and starting a conversation. And remember, none of this means you're broken. Your body is simply adapting, shifting, and sometimes asking for a little help. Maybe that help is more walking, less sodium, or a little medication. Maybe it's just awareness. The kindest thing we can do for ourselves isn't to push harder, but to listen deeper. Before we move forward, take a breath with me. Just a nice, gentle breath in and out. You're doing great. You're showing up for yourself today. And that's more than enough. Now that we've talked about these two subtle but powerful signals, lingering fatigue and swelling in the lower legs, let's explore another gentle sign that often goes unnoticed, yet carries so much meaning. Changes in your breathing. I'm not talking about those moments when you walk up a steep hill or rush to catch the phone. Anyone would feel winded then. I mean something softer, something slower. A shortness of breath that comes even while you're resting, or doing something simple, like folding laundry or walking to the kitchen. Maybe you've started noticing that you can't finish a sentence without needing to catch your breath, or lying flat in bed suddenly feels uncomfortable, like you need to prop yourself up with pillows to feel okay. This kind of change doesn't always come with chest pain or palpitations. It's not dramatic. And that's exactly why it's so easy to ignore. But our lungs and our heart are partners, they work together, every moment of every day. And when one begins to struggle, the other tries to help. So when the heart starts having trouble keeping up, your lungs step in, and you begin to feel it in your breathing. It's gentle at first. A little sigh here, a little breathlessness there. And just like that, the body is speaking again, if only we're willing to listen. Let me tell you a small story. There was a woman I met once, her name was Rosa. She was 68, gentle-voiced, the kind of person who always had a warm smile even on tough days. One afternoon, she told me she'd been feeling a little winded lately. Just getting the mail was a task. But she blamed it on the weather, on the pollen, on being out of shape. Still, something didn't sit right. Her daughter convinced her to get it checked, and thank goodness she did, her heart wasn't pumping as effectively as it should. She was in the early stages of heart failure. But because they caught it early, she had choices. She made a few lifestyle changes, started a gentle walking routine, and with some support from her doctor, she felt better in a few weeks. Rosa told me something I'll never forget. She said, "I never knew how hard I was working just to breathe. I just thought that's what getting older meant." So let's take that lesson to heart. Literally. If your breathing feels different, more effortful, or like it just takes more out of you than before, pause. Don't push through. Don't minimize it. Your heart may be whispering through your lungs. And the sooner we notice, the better we can care for it. Now, I want to talk about something that touches not only your physical body, but your emotional well-being too. Something many people would never think to connect with their heart health: changes in your mood, especially if you're feeling more anxious, unsettled, or even down, without a clear reason. It might surprise you, but the heart and the mind are deeply connected. When the heart isn't getting enough oxygen-rich blood, it can affect everything, including your brain's chemistry and your overall emotional balance. That lingering feeling of sadness, restlessness, or unexplained irritability. Sometimes, it's not just in your head. Sometimes, it's in your chest, in your heart, trying to carry more than it can handle. And here's something else. When people feel more tired, less capable, or notice changes in their ability to do things they used to enjoy, it can quietly wear away at their confidence. They stop reaching out. They stop going for walks or calling friends. A kind of emotional fog can settle in. But behind that emotional shift, there may be something very physical happening, something that needs attention and support. I remember a kind gentleman named Harold. He used to laugh so easily. He was the life of every room he entered. Then, over the course of several months, he became quieter, more withdrawn. His wife said he just wasn't himself. He said he didn't feel depressed, exactly, but he couldn't find joy in the little things anymore. It turned out, his heart wasn't pumping well enough, and it was starting to affect his brain's oxygen levels. With the right care and some gentle lifestyle shifts, his energy began to return, and with it, so did his smile. So if you felt more irritable lately, or less excited about things you used to enjoy, please don't brush it off as just aging. You deserve to feel peace and lightness in your days. And sometimes, the path back to that begins with listening to the quieter messages your body sends. And now, let's talk about one more subtle sign, something that feels so small, it often goes completely unnoticed, even though it can tell us so much about what's happening in the heart. Poor appetite or nausea. Now, I know, it doesn't seem like these would have anything to do with your heart. But they can. When the heart isn't functioning properly, blood can start to back up into other parts of the body, including the liver and digestive system. That can lead to discomfort in the belly, bloating, and a feeling of fullness even when you haven't eaten much. You might start skipping meals, feeling nauseated for no clear reason, or simply losing interest in food. It's subtle, right? Especially if you already have a smaller appetite, or if your meals have become simpler over time. But the change matters. It's another way your body might be waving a tiny flag, saying, "Pay attention to me." And while it might not seem urgent, it's still important. Sometimes, these digestive symptoms are misdiagnosed as acid reflux, stomach trouble, or even anxiety. And while those things can happen too, it's always worth exploring whether the heart is involved. Especially when these symptoms come alongside fatigue, swelling, breathlessness, or mood changes. So, what can we do when we notice these quiet changes? First and foremost, don't panic. Awareness is powerful. Your body is not failing you. It's communicating. And when we meet that communication with compassion, not fear, we open the door to healing. Talk to your doctor, even if it feels like a small thing. You're never wasting their time. Your health is worth paying attention to, every part of it, even the quietest parts. And second, be kind to yourself. Truly. When you wake up tired, or notice a change in your breath, or your mood feels off, don't scold yourself. Don't say, "I should be stronger," or "I'm just getting old." Say instead, "I'm learning to listen. My body is speaking. And I'm here for it." These small signs, these quiet whispers, they're not weaknesses. They're wisdom. They're your body's way of protecting you before